Hi guys, my name is Richard Milner, or as I'm otherwise known in this venture, the Orator, person, human who writes, and other such descriptors that are far less necessary and or far more obvious. So let's talk shop, huh? What is this Patreon all about? Who is this guy? What is he doing? Why do I care? What is the stuff behind him? Well, in this Patreon, primarily, you will be contributing to the creation of original written works of fiction, either literary or speculative, and the concurrent production of oration videos where I read those works of fiction to you. Readings, recitations, a little campfire time, and also companion videos where I deconstruct the background, theory, and technique of a given work. The videos are the free component here, right? They'll be available to anyone online, supporters or not, here in Cyberland. So if you choose to donate, you will also be receiving digital copies of each work in a format of your choice. So we're talking Mobi, EPUB, PDF, the usual suspects, as well as audio files for audiobook listening purposes, in case you get tired of hearing me and seeing me. So basically, this Patreon is a forever subscription to the written work that I produce and all the production, the background work that goes into creating these videos. From the get-go, as a gesture of good faith, goodwill, and to indicate to you the type of work that I could potentially create, I am going to include right off the bat in this Patreon three complete works that I have already finished, three orations. The Field, Electric Skin Jam, and An August for Grapes, that represent a wide enough range of style, setting, narrative, character, plot, voice, theme, technique, theory, to indicate to you whether or not this is something that you want to be a part of. In the meantime, every week, every day, as I've done for years, I will continue to write and create new pieces of work, new pieces of short fiction that I'm going to record, bounce down, edit on paper, and then edit on the screen, video edit, word edit, before pushing out to you so that you can enjoy them at your own leisure, in addition to watching them and listening to them here in video format as well as audiobook format. As is the case for a lot of writers, time constraints are always a problem, right? Unless you are a full-time professional or wealthily endowed person, the heir or heiress of some type, there's always a battle to find time to create as much as you would like or as much as you feel you can, right? Yes, you can schedule. Yes, you can sit down soldierly like at 9 a.m. in the morning, like Faulkner said. You can choose to be inspired at the same time every day. But still, there's always a desire to get a breathing space to create more with less financial constraints. And that's the whole idea behind Patreon, right? As per the generosity of supporters to fuel continued works and further more ambitious goals and rewards. And in doing so, I really hope to explore some strange and interesting spaces together and really play with words a bit. So I'm not looking to write this clinically trim, creatively comatose contraption of terse restraint. I'm chucking it all in. I want weird, expressive, experimental, odd combinations of prose and phrases and thoughts and language that, yes, deals with relevant, potent human concerns, and yes, is a reflection of our unconscious and the times, of course, but brims with some kind of vigor and uncompromising sight. One thing I'm not looking to do is overproduce. I'm not looking to compete with really high-end visuals and things like that. In fact, if anything, I am looking to pull back, to recede, to pare down. Yes, nice mic, yes, nice camera, all that. But I'm looking to really find sort of a quiet, patient space. And if you yourself in everyday life find yourself wishing for an opportunity to slow down, pull back, and focus, if focus to you is peace, then you might have in fact found your home. So a little bit of background about me, the who's its, the what's its, the what's its. Yes, I'm a writer, clearly, and an educator. I've taught at high school level. I've tutored kids. I've taught at university. I teach at university now, as well as test prep courses. And I've also worked as a narrative designer in the game industry. Feel free to try and find my name in some credits. I am not going to tell you where to look. These are what we call credentials, of course. Pedigrees, like a dog. Establishmentification, the bona fides. Hey, but believe in me. I am published, yes. Vessel of Kali, available now on Amazon. And this Patreon essentially represents a new venture and a new direction that I want to pursue. So yes, we're talking about the commodification of art and producing it for the purposes of making a living. That might be unavoidable, but I want to make the process more personal and more direct. I want it to feel one-on-one. I want to see if we can actually use this internet space in a different way other than for purposes of self-aggrandizement or purposes of distraction or for splintering us from relationships. I want to see if we can actually use this space to pull people together in a direct personal process. I want things to feel one-on-one. I want to bypass all distributors, all publishers, and have like a coffee shop chat with you, each of you, simultaneous but separate, of course, physically. A star scatter of campfires of cursor points dotting the interwebs. There are other reasons as well, more philosophical, abstract, and I'll get to those later. I've also operated writers' workshops for years, focusing on productivity mostly, and support from one writer to the next. No matter what the project is, if you have a voice and if you got things to say, by all means do it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't. I firmly believe in the necessity of craft, of hard moment-to-moment work to produce writing. If I want to get better at playing the piano, I just got to sit down and play the piano. If I want to get better at playing tennis, I just got to get out there and play tennis. If I want to get better at writing, I have to practice, 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 practice. And every time you write is practice for future writing. So if you don't like how it looks now, you just keep going. Here's a list of the books that I've read over the past 3 years. It's finished? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's finished. When looking at the logistics of this Patreon, the tiers, the rewards, the stretch goals, that sort of thing, I'm not going to do tiers. I'm not going to stratify support, all of which I'm grateful for, into different levels. I want everybody to feel like they're equally a part of the process, and I don't want one person to get something and somebody else to get something else. And I also realize that not everybody is in the same, financial state with the same sort of financial flexibility, and I don't want those who can't give more to feel shitty because, like, they're already working 3 jobs, and how much time do they have, and how much extra disposable income do they have to toss to this rando online? Yeah. As far as the rewards are concerned, I already mentioned them. The rewards include ebooks of the format of your choice, PDF, EPUB, Movi, no matter what your device is, for you to read in your own time and follow along to the orations if you want. And this also includes audiobooks, audio files for the purposes of listening. You can listen on your phone, you can listen wherever you want, in case something else is getting in the way of you finding time to watch, let alone read, right? And as far as stretch goals are concerned, I'm thinking 2 categories. One, enhanced bonuses, and the other, enhanced creation. As far as enhanced bonuses are concerned, I'm thinking of things like QA sessions, even mentoring or vetting your work directly. As far as enhanced creation is concerned, I'm thinking of longer works, more ambitious works, more experimental works, as well as orations of classic texts. So some other piece of work that maybe you really like, maybe it's newer, it doesn't really matter, or maybe it's a different take on an older piece of work, whatever it is, I can read it and present it in a particular way, style, or fashion. Some addendums, indices, in appendices, in the backs or fronts of things. As for the exact length of the work in question and the length of the oration videos, the quantity of words, more or less whatever it is, that will vary from piece to piece. I am looking to push out something at least every month. I work that regularly anyway, so it's just a matter of going through this extra step of recording and doing all of the video work and putting it online and taking care of, proper social media and digital equivalencies such as a website. So if it makes sense for a readable or listenable chunk to stop at a full substantive chapter, then that'll be it. If it makes sense halfway through the chapter, after a few paragraphs, that'll be it. If it's 3 pages, 5 pages, 8 pages, 20 pages, whatever the reasonable cutoff is to come to some sort of a midway point, some sort of midway resolution in the work, then that's where I'm going to stop the videos. And that's where I'm going to stop the oration and the push of a particular piece of content until the next time. I know mid-length videos are on vogue now, however much longer that'll be for, till the next thing comes along and becomes on vogue. So I don't want to strain people's attention too much, like I'm doing right now. I really like focusing on short fiction because it's much easier to experiment with voice, technique, style, tone, and structure, right? If I have a long piece of work and it takes me 3 months, or it takes me 8 months, or it takes me 12 months, then I'm committing to those 3 months, those 8 months, or those 12 months. And that's fine if the work in question is worth the time and the energy in order to do that. But since I enjoy trying so many different voices and styles, I really feel that short fiction has become my go-to way to find expression and to find a good way to play with words and to try a lot of different things and a lot of different stories, a lot of different characters, a lot of different worlds, a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different voices. That being said, if it seems right and correct that a longer piece of work comes along and I devote time to that, well, sure, this same process will still happen. The same process of me pushing out content and videos and orations and ebooks to you will still happen. It'll just be broken up. The longer work will be broken up into smaller works instead of me just pushing out smaller works. Easy. As far as why I do this, right, there are practical reasons as well as more abstract or conceptual reasons. The practical reasons are things I mentioned before, such as needing to free up more time and more funds in order to devote resources to creating creative written works. And as far as the philosophical reason is concerned, I have to refer to my notes here because this is hard to keep in mind in one image. I want to explore and play with how the previous dominant medium, print, sequential, linear, line by line, focused, unhyperlinked thought, now works and exists in the new medium, the digital age, where information is more scattered. And people have lots of different points and ways, non-sequentially, to get information. As we have shifted to a global, instantaneously connected tribe, I want to find out how it has changed storytelling and how it has changed the role of the narrator in our society. And I don't think we've quite figured this out yet. If we look at ebooks, for example, and even though I'm going to be delivering ebooks to you if you support this Patreon, if we look at ebooks, for example, we are looking at essentially a point-for-point insertion of the novel or short story into a new format, right? It hasn't changed really, it hasn't been adapted, it hasn't undergone any substantial alteration. And in a way, the shift to a global, instantaneously connected tribe confers the benefit of facilitating this kind of face-to-face recitation of the written word away from the absolute dependency on linear text and for the transmittal of large compendiums of knowledge into something that more resembles a new oral stage of society. Traditional avenues of old school publishing and digital publishing, which, yes, have been normalized enough at this point to be considered traditional, I believe, I feel do not really attempt to push the boundary of a cherished but ultimately, unfortunately, maybe short-lived art form that is the novel, which has only existed for a very small sliver of human history. And I believe that we have to be willing to ask questions about where our forms of expression and articulation are going to go. The world comes from voices, does it not? Conversations. We even use that kind of terminology when we talk about people interacting online. Conversations, dialogue, voices. There is something intrinsically vocal, even to the written word, that I feel has yet to be unearthed and fully plumbed to discover the role that the written word has in this new modern global tribe. This is an ongoing linguistic project of the arts to bring voice to words even beyond the voice of the page. Thank you.